Okay.
So welcome. We are going to do a yin class again today. And we'll start just on our belly. So go ahead and roll all the way down to your mat. I like to fold my arms and rest my cheek down just on my hands. And then when you arrive, notice your breath. So notice the sensation of your belly pressing against the mat with every inhale. And then lifting up and softening with every exhale. Purpose of a yin practice is to lengthen and create more range of motion through your connective tissue. So you want to disengage your muscles as much as you can. That way, your connective tissue gets a chance to work. And today we'll do a hip-focused practice. So we'll do lots of hip work, focus on creating space in the hips. Another part of this practice is giving your mind space to rest. So every time you notice that you're caught up in thoughts, caught up in your to-do list and what's next, redirect your attention into your breath and into the sensations in your body that will ground you in the present moment and give you an opportunity just to opt out for a little bit at a time. Opt out and take a break from repetitive or unhelpful or just unnecessary thoughts for the next hour. If you notice any areas in your body that are holding on to tension, so any muscles that are still tight, that still feel engaged or like you're not fully relaxed, let them go. Give yourself permission to experience your whole entire body as heavy on the mat or on the floor. I know lots of times in our day-to-day life, we feel like it's essential for us to constantly keep, every ball in the air, to keep juggling everything that comes our way effortlessly. And if we let go, if we let one thing drop, everything else will fall apart. And what I want to invite you to consider is that in letting things drop for this time with intention, with purpose, that you're offering yourself some incredible self-care. The ability to unburden yourself. Self-care is something that feels challenging for you, something that you struggle to make space for, or something that you struggle to acknowledge as necessary. Consider that self-care is an act of radical self-love. Something that helps me feel less bad about taking space is to remind myself that I love myself enough to do whatever it is that feels like self-care. So I love myself enough to spend an hour doing next to nothing. Welcome. We're just starting on our belly today. You can go ahead and make your way there. I'll take nap time. 5 more breaths, 5 more big deep breaths. Notice your belly press against the mat. And then lift back up after that exhale. On your next inhale, come into half frog. So turn your right toes out. So like if you were a ballet dancer, your foot would be turned out. And then bend your knee to 90 degrees. So your knee comes up towards your armpit and your shin is making a 90-degree angle to your thigh and your thigh is making a 90-degree angle to your torso. And that's it. That's the whole movement. We'll just pause here and hold. You can feel free to rest your opposite cheek for a little while if that feels good. Once you kind of settle into the pose, come back into stillness. The more still you can let your physical body become, the more benefit you get to your ligaments and your tendons, the connective tissue that we're working on in a yin practice. And once again, if cultivating stillness in your day, like literal stillness, literally laying still for any period of time, cultivating that in your day is really challenging for you, come back to the mantra, I love myself enough to be still, or I love myself enough to put my mental health first, or I love myself enough to be present for this yoga class, like a gift, if you're willing to receive it from you to you, a gift of quiet and stillness in your day. On an exhale, drop your right leg back down to meet your left. And then make your way to half frog on the left. So turn your left toes out like a dancer. And then lift your knee up until your thigh is 90 degrees to your torso and your shin is 90 degrees to your thigh. And then once you are settled, invite in stillness. Every time your mind wanders, take your awareness, your attention back to your breath. And I love being on my belly because it makes my breath so much more natural and easy to observe because there's the physical sensation of inhales pressing into the mat and exhales lifting off the mat. Keep breathing deep. Keep using your breath and your bodily sensations as a focal point for your mind so that you can give it a break, give it a rest, a real sense of restoration. No matter how you occupy your day, no matter what kind of job you have, whether or not you're running after kiddos or pets or anything else, consider that taking a break, giving your brain a chance to rest, will let you come back better able to tackle any remaining projects, better able to devote your attention to the things that matter most to you. On an exhale, drop your left leg back to meet your right and pause. And then bring your hands right underneath the heads of your shoulders. Lift yourself up to a tabletop position and then come onto your seat. So we're moving into shoelace pose. So you can extend your left leg forward and then cross your right leg over your left. You want to kind of line your knees up. If this feels really comfortable and like no problem, easy peasy, you can bring your left leg around so that it comes out to the opposite hip. And that's going to deepen up the hip stretch quite a lot. So if you get here and you discover that this is really more than you bargained for, feel free to extend your left leg back out. And then once you arrive, once again, cultivate stillness. You can rest your hands on your feet. You can rest them in front of you. You can rest them on your knee, wherever is comfortable. You can drop your chin toward your chest. If this feels like it's kind of, an okay stretch, but you feel like you need more sensation, you can start to walk yourself forward over your legs. You can round forward over your legs. For me, that rounding forward, that's kind of a lot today. So I'm going to stay more upright and just sort of drop my chin to my chest and come back to my breath. As we continue to move through practice, start to get curious about the other things that you're already doing for yourself as an act of self-love. They can be big things or little things. Or maybe there are things you do because you've never thought of them as an act of self-love, but there are things you do because it makes your life easier in the future or easier in the long run. For example, I make it a point to set my coffee maker every single night before I go to bed as a little act of love for morning Lisa. When she rolls out of bed, she doesn't have to worry about anything except pouring a cup of coffee. Like the rest of it is just taken care of. Or before I leave for the day, you know, I always wipe down my kitchen counters and make my bed as a little act of love for afternoon Lisa, who comes home and then doesn't have to do any chores. She can just sit down on the couch and read a book. That's what she has the capacity for. So it can be little things like that. Or it can be really big things. It can be making major life changes or major changes to how you fuel your body or how you move your body that tell yourself, like, I love you. I love me. Just be curious. Take one more breath in. Let it go. Gently start to pull your right knee off your left leg and bring your right knee square to the front edge of your mat and your left leg along beside you. So your left leg is going to come out like straight out from your torso, and your left foot can be really close to your butt cheek, or it can be further out depending on where you start to feel some sensation. But if you look down at your legs, they'll make two kind of 90-degree angles like a half pinwheel. And this is it. We're just going to stay here. You can deepen by walking forward over your front leg or walking towards like the space between your front foot and your back knee. Kind of roll down in there. This is called deer pose. And it's a little bit more intense version of half frog, which is what we started with on the back leg. So it gets into like the inner part of your hip, your inner thigh, starts to open all of that space up. If you can, you want to try and keep both sits bones on the mat. And so maybe you can accomplish that by moving your left foot a little closer to your left seat. So this dog never, ever, ever gets caught laying on the floor unless I'm down here teaching a yoga class. Like she just needs to be all up in our yoga business. It cracks me up. Normally she's on one of the chairs or the couch, but for class, she likes to be in the mix. Just settle back into your breath. With every transition, you want to do as little work as possible. So engage as few muscles as possible, engage as few movements as possible. And then once we arrive at the point where we have some sensation, enough sensation to feel like we're doing something in the pose, but not so much that it's unsustainable, kind of that Goldilocks middle area, we want to come into stillness. In yin class, you don't have to worry about your posture, so don't worry if your spine is rounded or your shoulders round forward. Just keep looking for areas where you're holding on, creating muscle tension, and let go. And keep coming back to your breath. Keep coming back to how much love and care you're showing yourself by showing up for your practice. On your inhale, if you're kind of rounded forward, go ahead and make your way back to seated. We're not going to move the front leg at all. It's just going to stay exactly where it is. But go ahead and extend your left leg straight out behind you for swan pose. So now we're coming back to being really intensely focused through the outer part of your right hip. Sometimes this pose is called half pigeon pose. In Yin, we call it swan pose or sleeping swan if you want to walk your torso forward over your front leg and surrender down. You notice that you get into sleeping swan and it's way more intense than you bargained for. Just walk yourself back up. And then breathe. You guys are doing great. If over the course of the pose you discover that you can add more sensation or you want to add more sensation, you can drop back in or deepen. mind's wandering, come back to your breath. If you're dying to like run screaming from the pose, come back to the I love myself enough mantra. I love myself enough to stay through it, to breathe into it, and to see what I'm capable of. Inhale, walk your hands up. Use your left hand to kind of bring your left leg back around. And we'll do that same series, but on the opposite side. So this time your right knee or your right leg will come out straight. Cross your left leg over for a half shoelace. Left knee is resting on your right knee. But then if you want to take it deeper, you can bring your right foot around to the outside of your left hip for full shoelace. Oh, you've got a pupper there with you too. I think mine's about to start snoring, so don't be alarmed. She snores like an old man who needs a CPAP. What are some of the other ways that you show love for yourself, big or small, that kind of come up over the course of your practice? Or what are some things that you've done or you do that you hadn't considered acts of self love that you can start to consider acts of self love? Acts of service for yourself. Maybe you love yourself enough to delegate chores to someone else. Maybe you love yourself enough to ask for help in other areas of life when you need it. Maybe you love yourself enough to set aside even just 5 minutes to read a book that you want to read, not a book you have to read or should read or are supposed to read, but something that's fun and entertaining. There are so many ways we can show ourselves care and kindness. So many ways we can treat ourselves. So once you've identified some of the ways that you're already practicing love and care for yourself, start to get curious about other things you can add in, things that might take 2 minutes or less, things that you can seamlessly add into your routine that you can do as an act of self-love. Gently unwind your left leg, bring it parallel to the top edge of your mat, and then bring your right leg around to make a half pinwheel for deer pose. And then play with the placement of your right foot. Maybe it comes in close to your feet. Maybe you can walk it out a little further and still have both its bones on the mat. You don't have to be equally on the mat, but contact with the mat is good. And then come to stillness. Keep inviting in curiosity for the ways you can add just a little something, just a little something. One more little gift for yourself. One more way to show yourself that you're worthy of care, of love, of being treated. Who's here? Me, I'm teaching a class right now. Pete's upstairs. We'll do old man who needs to see passports over here. Big deep breath. You want to add some sensation, feel free to turn towards the empty space between your front foot, your back knee, and round forward. something that teaching yoga classes from home has helped me realize is that I love myself enough not to get too caught up in like the imperfections of not being at my studio, the imperfections of the husband coming in and shouting when he walks through the front door, the imperfections of Bonnie wanting to be on my mat or right by my mat while I teach, like the imperfections of life. I don't have to try and control all of that. I can let life unfold and love myself enough to be okay with whatever occurs. That's huge. To give myself space and grace for humanity. Keep your left leg right where it is. Send your right leg straight back behind you for swan pose. You can stay up tall, or you can fold forward for sleeping swan. You notice that you're holding on in any of your muscles in this pose, let them go. At any point you want to deepen, feel free to drop even further in. If you need less, feel free to come out a little bit. Take a few more breaths right here. And then on an inhale, walk yourself up, roll all the way down to your back for your final resting pose. Let your feet drop open to the sides, arms rest next to you, palms up. In this pose, there's nothing to hold on to, nothing you need to do, but allow yourself deep, deep breath. Deep breath. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Roll your wrists and ankles. And then take a full body stretch. Reach your arms up overhead. Point your toes. Roll onto your comfortable side. And then as you're ready, gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Bring your hands together at heart center. Bow in. Take a moment to tell yourself how much you love yourself. Pay yourself a genuine compliment. The light in me loves and honors the light in you. Thank you for sharing your practice, part of your day, for allowing me to share the practice with you. Thumb knuckles to forehead. Together, we bow and say, Namaste. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.